So, welcome back to the stream, everyone. This is going to be our second virtual tour of Makerspace. I'm going to hand you over to David, who will be taking us through this next tour.
Thank you so much, Adara, for taking us around in the first one as well. So, hi, my name's David. I'm actually the chairperson of SA Makers that oversees this space. We've got our logo in the background. So I'm going to take you on a tour through our facility. If you have any questions at any point, I believe we've got our live stream chat. So you can send your questions and queries and we'll try to get them answered. So we're currently here in the foyer area where as you enter in, there's a few little bits and pieces that you can see around the place. One of the objects that you might notice is our robot. This is actually from Robert Hart at PAE Libraries, who's doing some work here today. He's got his robot that they're running around there. And it's a lot of fun and a lot of work. This was a COVID project, wasn't it, Rob? This is hello fish robot, how are you? Yes, you built yourself during COVID lockdown, didn't you?
Oh yes, I spent a terrible time with Robert in his workshop.
That's all right. It's very hard when you can't use a hammer to try to build your body, is it?
Oh, I know I had to rely on him to do it. It was terrible.
At least he has a supervisor. That's always a good thing, isn't it?
Yes, I had lots of children join me online to supervise Robert and make sure he did the right thing.
All right, we're going to go see the Textile Room as we go through here. So this here that we're going into, it's our Textile Room. In here we have Laura and Kylie, and they are both quite proficient at helping run this room or this area. They're our resident experts, as I like to refer to them as. So yeah, basically, would you like to say to people, I'm going to apparently get a little bit closer to you as well. Sorry, COVID rules and all of that with your marshal. So do you want to tell people a little bit about what's gone on in this room and the works that we've put into it?
Well, what we have in this room is our fleet of sewing machines. These are some older machines that have been donated to us, and as with all machines, I'm having a bit of difficulty with one at the moment, just trying to get it running. We've also got some overlockers all set up and ready to go. And yeah, so in this space we make a lot of things. Something that I've made in the past day is, for being the COVID marshal, I've made some lanyards and shared that with our friends across the road.
Excellent. The joinery?
At the joinery.
Excellent. I'm sure they'll like the aroma. And we could almost personalise them, couldn't we, for different companies if they wanted to?
Yeah, because I did it on the laser cutter. But instead of going out and buying a Marshall jacket, we used a material that had been donated by a company that closed down.
Yeah, so again, as much repurposing and reusing as possible in this space. And I believe this is your equipment over here at the front.
Yes.
Too, the weave and the...
We've got a 4-shaft loom here, and I've been showing people how to do a little bit of weaving on that, as well as a spinning wheel. Haven't been showing people that one because I don't have any wool with me. And just tools of the trade.
So it's not just all tech and electronics. There's actually a lot of traditional skills that have been brought into this space as well. So what are you doing, Kylie?
I'm repurposing old parallel printer cables. So inside the cable there are these lovely coloured wires which I crochet with.
Oh, that's right, you have a sample of it, don't you?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that I've done there.
Yeah, this is beautiful work.
And a pin cushion.
Yeah. And I think from memory when I chatted to you before, it's the amazing colours that you can get inside these casings, these wires. So we use everything we can in creative ways with very creative people. So,
there's also video tape which you can crochet with.
That's one of these. The one that you've got up here, sample.
Yep. There's a little piece there.
Oh, that's beautiful work. Wonderful. Well, thank you for giving us your time. We'll we'll head over and bother some other people in the space. Alright, but always lovely to see you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
What's about yourself?
Good, we're just doing a live stream at the moment.
Yeah.
The robot as well. So,
Very cool.
what are you coming today to do?
I saw it was your birthday on Facebook and
Yeah.
thought come in and see if there was anything happening.
Oh yeah, we've got heaps of things happening around the place, so you can, certainly probably look able to sign in and do all the right things for COVID. We'll go into the Digi Lab. So this is the digital lab. Here you've got a lot of your digital technology. So you've got your laser cutters and your 3D printers around the space. Again, a lot of these were donated or repurposed or reused in some way. We have also a Zortrax, which that's the replicator at the moment we're looking at. So again, hand built. We've got a Creator Pro. This one was actually donated as well to the space early on. We've got it up and working again thanks to people like Robin, one of the volunteers here. If there isn't anything to know about 3D printers, she's the person that knows everything about them. So she's got this up and running. We've also got in the corner the Zortrax over here. Now this has actually been donated to us as an in-kind from 3D Printer Gear, which is one of the people that sponsored us. So this is a very, very high-end quality machine, and they, as you can see, they sponsored that to the space. So, if you want your really high-resolution quality prints, this is the kind of one. So I think we've got something that's a sample. It wasn't done on this one, but something similar. That print there is done on that high-end print. You can barely see any of the layers in there. They're so fine. So, if somebody wanted to do their project, that's the high end. You do your prototyping on the other ones, and then do your high-end print on that one. These are all things that have been created over time, either here in the Fab Lab originally, or now in the Makerspace. So with Christmas coming up, we've got things like the Christmas decorations that people can actually do. I would say coming up, but in the next few months it'll all start hitting the stores, I'm sure. This was one we cut out, a grasshopper that we actually cut out and put together from the laser cutter as well. And you've got people who are doing handcrafts, so this was all carved here. And again, there's other different filaments and materials that are used, so that's an actual wood filament that's been used. But almost anything you can think of that you can do with a 3D printer and laser cutter, you can do here. So this here seems to be the room, the room that everybody coordinates. So this here is the Speedy 300. This is actually basically on loan to us from Trotec as an in-kind deal. These are really, really nice machines. They're almost plug and play. You can actually see some work that's being done at the moment on here. So literally you can bring a file in Illustrator. Here we've got, and almost print straight from that to the laser cutter. All right. So if we have a look inside, you can actually see that work that's been done. All right. Now the good thing about this is as soon as you open the lid, it turns itself off. It's all safe. So you can't actually operate it unless everything's in place. So we train you in this as well. So if you come in and become a member, or you want to be a casual that comes in and just uses it on the day, we'll do an induction in the digital lab where you come in and you learn these skills. We teach you how to do it, and then you can actually do the project yourself. So, okay. Cool. So we head into the electronics room. Oh, we've got Abigail in here. Yeah. So, hi Abigail. Say hello to the virtual world out there. So Abigail is one of our dedicated volunteers here. Basically, have a background in a lot of electronics and some of it self-learned, some of it
most of it's
self-learned, as well as programming. Software engineer as well background. Do you want to just let people know a little bit about what's been going on in this room and what you've been up to?
So at the moment, I'm actually.
I'll just try and stay close with the mic, even with apparently COVID.
At the moment, I'm actually setting up a FreeBSD on my computer to play around. It's an operating system, one of the ones out there. So, but anyhow, the electronics room. So the electronics room is available for people to use, and tools, equipment, parts, and components. And especially all the wire reels that we've got on one of our shelves here as well. Basically, you can come in, get access to the tools. We'll give you a quick overview on how to use them appropriately and safely, and away you go. As for the parts, we basically just ask for a donation in for the bits and pieces you use. If something runs out, tell us. So.
And that doesn't preclude you from bringing in your own parts. And what we encourage, as with lots of makerspaces, if you bring in parts, usually you've got like 1 or 2 pieces you need to use, but you've got to buy 20 of them. So really, if you've got the opportunity to bring parts and pieces and share them with the rest of the community, and that basically, or if you're cleaning out your electronics in your garage or whatever, maybe give us a bell, and we might be able to find something that will enhance what we've got here already for community. I know you've been working on the clock as well for a little bit. That was a donation from memory, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in the pile of bits and pieces, and it wasn't working at the time, so I went through, fixed up various LEDs around the place, and got it to a state where it can do things. So, assuming the button still works. So.
Again, there's actually, from memory, this is one of those rooms that most of the components have been donated from different people, different parts of the community. So a lot of the machines, there's very few pieces in here I think we've actually had to buy ourselves. This is the loveliness of this kind of community, that we've been able to bring in all these components and parts as well. I will point out I do like this machine. This was the original Thingomatic. This is what started it all in Adelaide. This was actually brought in, I believe, by Genevieve Bell, who's now at the Australian National University, and our former chairperson Alison Kershaw was part of that, bringing it over. And this is what began the Fab Lab, and this is what built the Makerspace in the end. This little thing in community changed how people saw what you could do with materials and on demand and yourself. So thank you very much. I think we'll keep going up, keep a mind of the time as well. So that always wonderful to see you, Abigail. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. We'll go back through the lab here, and we'll go into the flexible learning room. Hello, Robert. Hello. So I've got the flexible learning room here. We've got flexible space, if you like, or please come up with a name for it if you like. We've got Robert here, who's actually that was the robot we saw earlier. So Robert. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Driving Robert. Now, Robert, do you just want to explain how many bits of software you've got involved in the robot out there?
So.
I'm going to have to get a little bit closer for you as well, so you can...
Oh, okay.
So I'll speak up, basically. And,
All right, so what we've got is there's a camera on the robot with... I'm running Google Meet at the moment on the robot, so I can hear what people are saying and I can talk to them. I've got the microphone muted at the moment. There's another camera for looking at the arm control. So we're using 2 Raspberry Pis. One Raspberry Pi does the controlling of the servos and motors to move the robot to and fro and to control its arm. And then there's a media Raspberry Pi for the communications. It's got 2 screens, 2 cameras. So it can do more than just talk with people. We can display information as well.
And now, full disclosure, Robert works for Port Adelaide Enfield Libraries. He's also a board member for the SA Makers, so I work quite closely. I work at Port Adelaide Enfield as well. But this was really your project during the COVID lockdown that you were running
Yes.
there. So
I wanted to make a telepresence robot, and well, I was working from home in my workshop. And spent more time than I thought I would, and because I was running online programs and kids were having conversations with me, it got a little bit more elaborate than.
But the idea is still that community should be able to actually control it in the end if they want to. So you have to use it as an educational tool.
Oh, absolutely! It's a complete open source platform. So it'll integrate into some of our training programs, workshops in Arduino, in Raspberry Pi, and in Python coding, and so on.
So yeah, you'll need to check out the Port Adelaide Enfield Library STEM programs. For more
One of the
information.
best in the world, I think.
Yeah, I'll say so myself. So, Robert. But this room, there's actually, even though it's just a blank sort of space for doing work and community stuff, you've still got quite a lot of materials that have been donated as well. So the whole concept of the space has always been still at the heart of it: reuse, recycle, repurpose. That circular economy aspect, which comes from our funders as well, Green Industries of South Australia. And actually, a lot of the computers that are in this room were donations from them. They were getting rid of them. A lot of the cabinets as well, they were actually getting rid of them years ago in their offices, and we stored them and now are reusing them, repurposing them in our educational space, or our speaker space if you want. The boards on the wall were donated by Star of the Sea. They were going to get rid of them, and we acquired them and are setting them up so that they can actually be used as interactive whiteboards as well. So we'll keep moving into the major piece, which is the workshop. So this is the big piece of work that we undertook to create a space where you could do woodworking, metalworking, or anything else that you wanted to do. Now I've got a few people in as well today, so you've got accessible space. You can come in and do your projects. Now we've got Len, who's working over on the lane here, and we've got, is it Dee? Dee's also working on her desk, and we'll introduce you to both of them. So Len's just setting up the Simtech wood lathe. He's actually going to turn out a bowl as well. So he's been working on it. Len, do you want to just explain what you're doing at the moment?
I have a piece of golden cypress, where it was a 90 by 90 fence post that I've glued together to make a blank, what I call a blank.
Yep.
From I cut this on the bandsaw to make it circular, so it spins regularly. I've attached the plate to the back to a sacrificial piece, and then I've adjusted this piece in so that I can use the chisel in the right way.
So you're just getting your chisels out, okay, yeah.
So I know plenty of leverage on there. I can actually cut that in there.
Now, Len's one of our volunteers here who also takes people through the inductions into the machine. So when you become a member of the space or want to use the space, you actually have to go through an induction process. Obviously, we want people to be safe. We want you to be using these materials, these machines in a proper way. So what we've got, you've got your table saw, you've got your sanders, belt sanders, you've got your lathe, you've got your planer, you've also got your bandsaws as well as your drill press that's accessible in this area. We've also got this piece here, which is actually our CNC machine. So the CNC machine is still a bit of a project. Again, we've recycled what was cabinets to turn it into its base. So we want to keep it mobile. They've removed and repurposed the electronics so it's actually more accessible. What we're trying to get to the point is that anybody can come in and use a couple of different programs to plug and play to actually be able to use this CNC router to actually make anything. Now, the main thing of being a computer-controlled router is that you can actually drop in your designs and it will cut them. So it's got basically it is just a standard router with a boot on it. The computer controls are the X, Y, Z accesses. But you get items such as this. So this was just out of a bit of pine, a 2x4. What they did was they basically put it down into the base. You can actually see where they fixed it and got it to cut it out. So they managed to cut it out. And then when it had done that, they turned it over so that it would actually cut out the interior as well. And it did it with very good precision. And again, this was eventually done on a plug and play program, which we're going to help roll out for people who want to learn this. And it will have its own separate induction. This is a nice little one too. This is just a relief of Wilpena Pound. I don't know if you can see that, but this is just a geographical relief, topographic map of Wilpena Pound there. So you can do almost anything on the fine stuff. But the main deal is you've got one side where you can come in, just use hand tools. And then you've got your other side where you've got your big machines. That also includes a metal working area as well. So we've got to keep moving because of the time, I'm sure. And the fact that I do rattle on a bit. So thank you, gents. We'll go through here. This is just the common kitchen area. And so basically, when you've got a chance to stop your work, you can have a cup of coffee or a tea, in here. There's not too much at the moment, except blank walls that you might like to fill. This is probably the newest addition that we're walking into. It's the Multimedia Room. We have Matt in here. So we now have kitted out this space to actually help provide people with a space to film things. Eventually podcasting is one of the hopes as well. But we've just finished off painting our green screen wall for chroma key work. As well as having access to really quite decent digital devices that you can come in, use and try out. These are, again, some of this is repurposed, so these were donations again from Star of the Sea. We've also repurposed the cabinet, haven't we? Yeah. So, do you want to just explain to folks what you've been doing in here a little bit? Because you've been the main person working on this, so yeah. I'm going to get a little bit closer so you can hear the mic a bit, but yeah.
So basically, right now I'm working on these computers to set them up for some video and voice editing and recording. I've also got the trolley in the corner over there is set up as a mobile streaming and recording trolley, so you can basically take it around to any of the rooms and basically record and stream.
Show people what's actually inside the work that you've done.
So basically, we've repurposed this cart. It was an old laptop trolley that they usually have in schools. They're not widely used these days, which is why we were able to get it from a school that were probably going to throw it out. Me along with one of the other volunteers, we've retrofitted it now, so basically the entire cart can run off one power point, and that powers basically the two screens, the desktop computer inside, and along with the two extra power points.
So basically people could take this into any area of our Makerspace and actually film from there. Yes. Could be a talk, could be what they're doing, or anything. So it really is, it's what would have been something that was not used anymore, chucked out. You've managed to mainly get mostly recycled components and turn it into a very useful object, especially in the age with, the COVID crisis and being able to have access, so people can actually use this and film it. So that's, again, it's a community accessible object. Yes. Is the end goal. So, all right, we're going to keep moving. Thank you so much for that. And we'll head down back to our space. We've also got small meeting rooms for people if they ever want to use them as well. So if you've got something that you want to do, or a quiet space when you're here, because we know sometimes you just need some thinking time, that's a good space to do it. So we've tried to think of all the major components that will go into a creative space. So I'll just basically finish up this by talking a little bit about who's been sponsoring us and a little bit of the history. So if you don't know, Makerspace Adelaide comes out of the Fab Lab originally, which was AC Arts, funded by ANAT, so a big shout out to ANAT who originally funded this. But over the years it had to move to different places, and then Green Industries of South Australia actually put up a grant for a creation of a community fabrication space run by community that focused on the circular economy. So they are our principal founding partners in this space that you see here today. This is public money going to hopefully public good is the goal. There are also other partners that we've had along the way. So RawTech is a consultancy firm around waste management, has been a big part of helping us guide us through this space and how we kind of try to focus on our waste streams as well. 3D Printer Gear, as I mentioned out there, have donated 3D printers and filaments to the space. Superloop is why we can film it from here at the moment, because they give us the free internet they're providing us, so shout out to Superloop for doing that. Trotec, well, you saw the laser cutter out there. You can see their big contribution is allowing community access to those machines. We've got a couple other ones like the Australian Audio and Lighting Technology Group. They gave us some lighting and some other materials that help with different parts of the space. Paramount Browns with the metalworking area. One that's not up there because we're still getting the signage is Carbotech. They did a huge deal with us to actually help us get those machines. And one of our people that we actually saw out there was, or haven't met, is Warwick, who helped us get that as well. So with his group. So basically, the whole concept of the place is now that over the last 18 months, we've built it up. We opened on August the 22nd last year, and we've been running ever since. But we could not run without the passion and the contribution of all the volunteers that help keep this place held together. We trip and fall along the way, but we always help get picked up again by those people that are around us, and they are the creative flow in this place that actually is making that happen. I feel very humble and proud that I can actually help facilitate that in a space like this. So if anything else, basically when you get the chance to come down and check this space out yourself, actually even better, become a member of this space and help support it, because every dollar you put in goes into keeping this space open, and we hope that sometime in the future we'll actually see you here and talk to you face to face. But other than that, I'm going to let you go. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of our little makerspace, and we'll see you another time. See you later. And I'm going to go away now. Look after yourselves. Bye.